Welcome back to Crying at the Gym! We are recording this episode the same week that we released our first two episodes. And thanks. We have now realized we have more than one listener. But yeah, thanks for being here. But we thought it was probably a good time to reintroduce ourselves for those of you who do not see us on a daily basis.
For those of you who are not Brooke's mom, mainly, since that's who our audience, the audience we thought we were gonna have, only.
Literally.
So we're like, we're Brooke and Liz. Anyway, move on.
For real.
Anyway, we're Brooke and Liz. I'm Liz.
I'm Brooke.
We met crying at the gym, as you might be able to tell by the name of our podcast, which is not actually for gym goers per se. That's just also the other audience members that we, other listeners that we know are following with us because they witness our agony daily. So, thanks for being here. We realize we now have more information, and we also realize that everyone is also in the trenches with us. So this week, we thought it might be nice to share some positivity and talk about some things you can do whilst in the trenches to make your life feel better. A little something to take the
Yeah.
edge off, if you will.
Still dark and raw, but
No, we'll definitely keep it dark, and we definitely probably will cry, and we definitely will talk about things that make you think about the depressing things in your lives. The only the only promise we make. But we're also here to say that there is hope. And we're also going to laugh a lot
yeah.
because what else can you do when
If you don't laugh, you'll cry.
yeah, if you don't laugh, you will cry. And most of the time I do both simultaneously and you don't even know which one is happening, which is quite refreshing at the gym, by the way, when you're just sweating so much. Nobody can actually tell. So
We've learned that.
so that is why it is a safe place to do all the things. But first, so anyway, Brooke, when's the last time you cried?
Okay, I would say, actually, Wednesday, I would say, our release day. For so many reasons. One, we literally thought we would have one listener. Two, no, everyone's been so nice. And just like also like DMing us, texting us, like saying, "Oh yeah, we're here, we're there, we're with
We
you."
love a good
Um,
cry from support.
and then also just like talking about how raw we're being, and so that did make me cry.
Yeah, thank you for
Like,
accepting us in our raw form.
like literally, I had my phone up, on Wednesday during a mediation, and all the notifications were coming in, and I was just like, "Oh,
I feel like the communication we had that day was so funny because it was like it it went up. I was in London and you
were
were
you still?" No.
yes. I
Oh,
woke up and it was like Christmas morning. It was like posted. Well, I don't know what time it was here, but I woke up at what would have been, or
I
maybe you
thought
did it
you
the night
landed the
before.
night before. You were still on London time.
No, I was still there when it went up, I think. Yeah.
Oh, our first
Oh, the one we
episode,
did by
yeah.
accident. Okay. No, okay. So what? We can cut that, but like, oh, because you did it by accident.
Yeah, so, yeah.
The first two.
The
So
first
Wednesday.
episode I did by accident
Okay.
because ChatGPT told me it would take a few days to process,
Gotcha.
and then, it published right away, and I said, "Oh, no."
Okay, but the day that we officially, so August 6th, when we kept being like,
Yeah.
hi, August 6th, like, this is when it's going to happen. And that morning we were like, I don't know. Are we stupid? Is it going to be
Yeah.
bad? No, it's fine. We were like, we'll give ourselves a participation award. All of a sudden, like, after being, I don't know, I felt so good. And then I was like, had that immediate, as much as we talk about, we hype each other up, I did still have that, like, I don't know, I'm feeling really
Yeah. No,
vulnerable.
literally.
But I think that's so human, honestly. Anyone doing something at all that's out of their comfort zone or just different. Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
weird. And
No, literally, because I listened to it a
thank goodness
billion
we had each other.
times while I was editing, and then I listened to it the morning we released it, and I was like,
Hides
um,
away.
so what about you? I know
Because
you
last
also
time
cried on
I
Wednesday,
cried,
but, like, any other
I did cry. I've been crying since Wednesday. I haven't stopped crying. So the last time I remember crying at something new was when I just, as some of you know, I just solo traveled for the first time. I was in London and then Greece and then Albania, and then I came home, I guess the day of, it was such a blur, the day
I could tell.
before and of our release date. So that was really chaotic. Never have I ever talked to you more without seeing you. I was like, "Oh my god, how did we do this?"
For
While I
real.
was just off the grid kind of for 3 weeks. But while I was traveling, like, when wasn't I crying during that trip? Because at first I went through a whole progression. First, I was like, I felt so cool, like, "I'm gonna solo travel, like, this is just, like, something that always seemed cool." And then I was like, I got there and I was like, "Why did I do this?
I'm
I'm
feeling
homesick.
vulnerable.
This is silly. I miss my dog. What? I wanna." I was like, "I wanna talk to someone," but then there were, like, people to talk to, and I was like, "I don't wanna talk to anyone." Like,
Yeah.
and so I felt like I'd put myself in this, like, I was like, "Have to do this thing," and I didn't know why. Anyway, lots to say on that. I don't wanna ramble, but major self-discoveries. But a lot of just, seeing myself and talking to my inner child, no big deal most of that trip, but that's, yes, I cried a ton over that, but I know I keep ominously, like, alluding to, I'm like, "Oh, in the last couple years," and so on the trip, I was really having a moment of, like, "What just happened in my life?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't think it's normal the amount of, like, experiences that I've gone through in such a short period of time," and so I think what, in, like, 18 months or within the last 2 years, the amount of, like, loss and grief I've gone through has been crazy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 35, but for that to all occur
It's been
in
a
2
lifetime of,
years,
like,
yeah, I've had,
trauma.
like, tons of things happen in my whole life, but for the last 2 years, being there alone and thinking about the fact that in just that period of time, losing my marriage, a baby, my dog, my home, my job, like, my
Yeah.
whole idea of what I thought my life would be.
And your idea of your and your idea of your, like, identity.
Yes, everything I attached my identity to and brought me fulfillment and ugh,
Oh my god, I might cry.
okay. I'm like, "What were we
Sorry.
talking about
Like, I
today
can't look at you
too?"
while you're crying.
Uh, when's the last time you cried, bro? Right now.
Well, we
Um,
thought this was gonna be a lighter episode, but
no, yeah, we're like, "We're here to cheer you up." So, ahem, to speak of those things very clinically on paper, and then the rest of the episode probably nervous laugh and make bad jokes to
yeah.
cope. Um, it is all the reasons that I am very passionate about what we're talking about today. So,
Yeah.
finding things that you can do to make you stable in the trenches, if not to help you get out
Get
of
out.
them.
Yeah, I think no, I think one of the things we've realized is, like, so many people have told us that they're right there with us in the trenches, which is kind of validating on one hand, and I know it might be validating for you all, but, it does feel like you're just in this place of, like, stuck in, like, "Okay, where do I go from here? Like, how do
Yeah.
I make change?" Because, like
Yeah, so we've all acknowledged, especially in the last couple episodes, yeah, everything is bad sometimes. Not everything, but, like, everyone is going through an experience that can make them feel
mhm,
a sense of hopelessness. Obviously, there's different levels to that, right? Like, some people are going through really, really hard things, and, it's all relative. On a scale from me the last 2 years, like, being in your deepest, darkest, depressive
yeah,
states where you feel like, "I can't do anything."
yeah,
Like, that is obviously, like, a hopefully rare occurrence in
yeah,
your life, and then there's, like, where I think most of us are at would be just going through the motions. You're on autopilot, you've put it in neutral, and you're just like, "Okay, I just
yeah,
get up, I do these things, I think I know what I'm working towards, but I
yeah,
still feel like crap all the time." And then there's, like, s I don't know, I've experienced this, so that's why I consider it, but the, like, high achieving, overdoing it kind of thing. You're
Yeah.
like, "No, and I'm gonna do this, and this made me happy, and then I'm gonna do this," and you're just, like, grasping for everything
Looking
and
for
fixating.
answers. Yeah.
Yes. Um, so within all those different states, or at any point, really, there's always something you can do, right,
Yeah.
to feel better. Um, it is hard to know what is a healthy coping mechanism, though, so, like, sometimes things are disguised as something healthy, like diet or exercise, right? But people fixate too much, or it ends up being something where they're just wanting control. And
Oh,
I've been through that. So
interesting.
for me, it's like a fine line between like um when I reach for things externally, I'm like, okay, but like you don't have to get all crazy and try to like sometimes I'm like, am I is this like serving me or do I feel like it's soothing me because I have control over something?
Interesting.
Um,
I think mine, I just like run myself ragged until I'm like, my body says, okay, can we take a
can
break?
confirm I've seen you do that
Yeah.
physically,
Like,
mentally, emotionally.
when I was training for this half marathon, I was doing Olympic weightlifting, an Olympic weightlifting program. So that was like 5 days a week of like a good solid hour of lifting.
Yeah.
I also could not give up CrossFit because there's something about CrossFit for me that like I love to go and just like I can go turn off my brain, um, just work my work out until I'm like feeling numb. And then I was also running because I had to run 13 miles. And then by literally by time I got to the half marathon, um, like 3 days before, I was, like, deathly ill, like, only consuming medicine ball tea from Starbucks, like, also full of sugar, but I, like, couldn't eat, so the night before, I had, like, 6 pieces of shrimp, and then I was like, "Ah, I'm full."
Not the 6 pieces of shit.
And then the morning of, I couldn't eat anything. I had no fuel going into this, so no wonder, like, my body hurt afterwards for days, but the morning of, I had a Celsius, I had those, like, I can't remember what they're called, but, like, the gels,
Yeah, yeah.
that people and that's literally it.
Good, good.
Yeah. And
Since
then by
this is an unwellness podcast, let's just be honest about what we actually do. Like, we know what we should do. I'm like, "Here's the things I know I did that were healthy, but then here's what I did." Like, I definitely went through my phase too of, like, pie and wine, but, like, that's all I ate besides, a protein shake I forced myself to have because I knew, like, I had to get a certain amount of calories in a
Mhm.
day. Butter noodles with eggs, it was such a weird combo. I can't
Yeah.
describe why it worked, but it was just, like,
Yeah.
noodles with butter, olive oil, and, like, scrambled eggs. I was like, "I don't know, there's protein, carbs, and fat."
It's disgusting.
It was so disgusting, but, like, I kinda want it.
That's disgusting.
It was a soft scramble, if that makes
No.
No, it was. I would look at it and I was like, "Wow."
Well, no, it does make sense, but I'm like, "That's still disgusting."
I know, and then I never drank soda, I started drinking soda and
Mhm.
energy drinks, which I also never drank, and I was taking Adderall, so it was, like, the combination of all those
Yeah.
things was, like,
Bad.
so much caffeine, like, so little food, drinking, going out,
Mhm.
and I knew, like I kept being like, "I'm not hurting myself," but it's like, I will if it's, like, a
Mhm.
long-term thing.
No, the one thing I've done this year where my doctor was actually like, "Thank God," but I stopped drinking energy drinks because I was like, "Okay, if I don't have the energy to get through the day without, like, multiple cups of coffee and, like, an energy drink or 2 energy drinks, like, I should probably take that as a hint." And so I have actually cut out caffeine, and I think that's where I'm, like, starting to mellow out.
Did you, Mella?
So when you were in your deepest, darkest lows, and then also when you were, like, going through the motions and then manic, so, like, in each of those levels that we've all been through, what were you doing to, take the edge off? Do you wanna start, like, maybe at the deepest, darkest and then work your
Sure,
way
yeah,
up?
let's end on a more positive note. Deepest, darkest, I have to say, maybe because like, people are resilient, you don't remember trauma, that well, but I'm like, I feel like that was the worst I've ever been like, the worst state I've ever been
Yeah.
in, and I would attribute some of that to the fact that I was also on hormone meds, which, like, makes you already, like,
Fucked.
unable
Yeah.
to process and handle things, but there were, like different things I did at different times. Some of them were very simple because I didn't even have, like, the capacity to think big picture or long term at all. So,
Mhm.
at that point, I was, like, very much in a survival state.
Mhm.
So, I did start to I, like, made sure I checked the boxes of just basic needs. Like, at that
Yeah.
level, it's not even like, "Oh, how do I make my life better?" You're like, "How do I survive?" Like,
Yeah.
it's different than, like, strategizing, like, your next move. You're like, "How am I gonna make it through this thing
Yeah.
first and foremost and come out an okay person?" So, I was doing anything to satisfy my basic needs, like eating the bare minimum amount of food that I needed to because I didn't have an appetite, showing up to work because I still had to support myself, feeding my dog, like
Mhm.
going to the gym so that I wasn't alone all the time. Um, and then
Yeah, I
sitting
would have
with
never I would have which I feel like is a good lesson. I would have never guessed what you were going through
that
or,
I was
like,
gonna
that you
say
were in
that
that
earlier
state.
too, like when you were talking about around the time when you were running a half marathon and doing a weightlifting meet, I was like, I don't know, I just thought you were like
You had your
just
life
like to do
together.
stuff. Yeah, like you
That's
really don't know what people are
yeah.
going through, and, like, CrossFit's a funny place too because you don't really know people's lives out of there unless you become friends with them, so you're like, "I don't know what's not normal." Like, I don't even know what that person does for work or how old they are or, like, there's such a hodgepodge of
Yeah.
people, you're like, "Huh."
I had this conversation the other day. Someone was like, "What?
I
You're a
feel like
lawyer?"
oh, I was like, "I think that was a"
And I was like, "Girl, I've known you for, like, a year."
yeah. Well,
It's
s yeah,
funny.
so at that time, I was, meeting my basic needs, and if and slowly in doing that, like and accepting the situation I was in, I sat with myself and I planned, like, Friday nights to be alone, and,
Yeah.
um, I remember being in my house alone for the first time, like, "What do I even do?" Or, like, "Who am
Yeah.
I?" So that's when I started my whole "Who am I?" journey and, like, sitting with
Yeah.
myself and journaling or just crying.
Oh, and you were talking about the podcast and books, like, just,
I
like,
was listening.
looking
Yeah,
at all
oh,
the
yes.
different
I
yeah.
was listening to a ton of podcasts, and I was reading a lot of books, um, anything I could get my hands on to find a little bit of hope or even just, like, make me escape from my life for a
Mhm.
moment to, like, hear other things and get perspective.
Mhm.
Um, and then this is, like, a small thing. So my best friend, she does she she's a therapist. Not mine, but mine. But she gives herself arm kisses. This is such a silly but sweet little
Oh,
thing, and I
yeah.
remember, like, sitting in the like, I was taking, like, a salt bath because like, also was working out all the time, so I was like,
My
"I should
body
probably
hurts.
recover, so I'll just take a bath once a week with the salts," and I just remember sitting there and, like, kissing my arm and being like, "You're doing a good job,"
That's
like
so
it
cute.
was so silly, but I was like
Yeah.
it was like me connecting with myself and being like,
Mhm.
"You're still here, you're okay." Like, oh, I didn't know that was like it's so stupid, but it's like no, literally, I was like
Yeah.
it just, like, brought me back to, like, planet Earth for a
It's
minute.
grounding,
Yes, I
yeah.
was like, "I'm fine."
Yeah.
Like, and, like, doing better you're always doing better than you think, like,
Yeah.
and so it was definitely a progression from there to, like, um starting to see the things that instead of everything I lost that I was gaining. And I was
Mhm.
like, well, I actually like, I don't know, I like spending time doing this. And I never
Mhm.
did that before. Not that I couldn't, I just wasn't.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, in my deepest, darkest hours, that's how it was. And just like quick emotional side note. I think part of that like experience really started me on my like knowing myself and self-love journey because
Oh, I
I
love
always thought I
that.
had a pretty good handle on that. I was like, I know who I am and I know how to take care of myself, but I realized like in that moment, feeling that way, remembering all the other times where like it felt impossible to take care of myself, maybe like and connecting like realizing it was because at that point, like your self-worth being like on the ground or below,
Mhm.
being like, I don't even feel like I want to take care of myself. Like that's
Yeah.
a very real thing people feel like when they're depressed or in a depressive state or something traumatic has happened. To be like, I I don't even want to take care of me. And I was just remember being so proud of myself I'm like, you're still doing it though. You're
Mhm.
still, I mean, you're still trying to sleep and you're still trying to eat and that's the best you could do. So I think like,
And, like, reward you I feel like you reverted back to your norms a little bit, like, with CrossFit and, like, just, like, spending time with pickles and, like, just, like, the things that felt
yeah,
comfortable.
all the really like simple things that I
Yeah,
actually did.
but are, like, part of who you are, like
Yeah. So like going back to the gym was one of those things that I was limited when I was going through the fertility stuff, which stopped very abruptly, obviously, at that point. I did start going back to the gym and I was like, that was a humbling experience after like a couple of years of not
Mhm.
really being able to, and my body was so different. Like I remember being happy that I was a new member because nobody knew if I had ever even worked out before,
Yeah.
because if I had gone back somewhere where I was at a certain skill level, that might have like I feel like people would have been like, "Oh, that's so sad." Like, because I
Yeah!
literally couldn't do a burpee.
They
I
know
would
your
I would, like,
norm.
do a burpee and stand up and be like, "Oh my god, this is how people feel who, like, just, like, have never been active." I was scared to jump on a
Yeah.
box, and I was, like, a box jump
I
queen
do remember that,
in the day,
yeah.
and I was just like, "Whoa." Like, I don't know. Everything was from a new lens, and
Yeah.
anyway, so you can cut a lot of that sad stuff,
No.
but, um and then, of course, going through the motions. I've spent a lot of time in that space,
Mhm.
like and sometimes I know I'm in that space, I'm like, "Alright, I'll just hang out here because it's, like, it's
It's
safe,"
easy.
because yeah, sometimes you have to make an extreme
You don't have to make any
change.
decisions. You're just
Yeah, complacency, oh, it
any
can be good
hurt.
for survival
Yeah.
to a point, but it can't be forever because
It's not
that's
nothing's sustainable, we're learning.
that is not sustainable. So, when I'm in that stage, since I'm, like, more stable
Yeah.
than what we were just describing, I'm like, "Okay, what then the focus is like, what do I want?"
Mhm.
Like, we talked about this last time, like, what do you want your life to be?
Yeah.
And, that's like the big question, but then there's like all these like smaller levels of like, okay, well, how can I achieve that through work? Or like, how can I monetize a skill or a passion I have if that's what you want to do? And do I need like a certain education for that? Or what kind of experience can I get? Can I volunteer somewhere? Like, then
Okay.
thinking about the like actionable steps toward that, um, and figuring out a plan. Like,
Yeah.
I try to look at what I have accessible to me at that moment and see like how I can maximize the benefits
Yeah.
those provide to get me to that next spot.
No, that
Like
makes sense.
let's
You're very, like, logical with it, which fits your like, knowing you, I'm like, "Oh, that's so good," like,
this is
not like, "Good for you," but, like, "That's so good," like, "That makes sense for you," like, "That's good for you."
what's weird is like I picture you to be more that way. This is what like you really don't
That's
know what you're getting because like I'm like
no.
like nobody. I feel like nobody would know that I sit there and I'm like, well, actually, like I am quite organized in my brain
Yeah.
in some ways, but most of the time it is not expressed that way.
Me, on the other hand, me, on the other hand, I'm a little hippy dippy with it.
You're
I'm
like
like
vision board, manifest, manifest.
I'm like, "Manifest, vision board, touch grass."
Honestly, I
Like
do those things too. I definitely
Mhm.
get super witchy with it too. Like
Yeah.
I I think like those I like both because I'm like at the end of the day everything's up to the universe and
Yeah.
what is meant for me, but I'm like but what can I do to feel
Feel
more
good.
fulfilled and moving in a direction I want to go.
Yeah. And I think yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. I think when I was in the more of, like, the just going through the motions, another thing I did was, like, dead ass, like, touch grass. And, like, one thing I used to really enjoy when I was, living up north in, like, West Virginia and, like, North Carolina, I loved a trail. I was a little whore for a trail.
Yeah.
I loved hiking. I would hike, like, literally all times of year. Um, which is crazy because now I'm like,
That's why your mom thinks you're
winter.
about to get snatched on a solo
On
hiking
a solo
trip.
trip to Utah.
No, don't.
Yeah, but anyhow, um, but also just, like, being outside barefoot in nature, like, there is something so healing about being in
Oh,
nature,
yeah.
and now here, like, with the beach, it's just, like, feeling sand and also just the sun and, like, grass and, like, there's just
I
something
can't
so
believe I
healing
didn't
about
mention
being
yes,
outside.
that is, like,
Yeah.
me and one of my friends are always like, "Earth." Like, when in doubt, we're
Yeah.
just like, I just go. Yeah, I mean, that's why I moved out, like, to the beach.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to be there. I
Near
need to
water.
yeah.
And I've always been, like, the type of person, I'm like, "I need to be near water." Like, I don't care what type of water it is, lake, ocean,
I feel the same.
water.
Yeah.
But and even in college, it's so funny, like, thinking about it now, like, me and my friends in between classes would literally, like, lay on the grass and just be like,
Me and my friends did that.
"Something so
Yeah, that
healing
was
about
before I knew I had a
nature."
really, really bad allergic reaction to ants.
Yeah,
I don't know if
so
I would do it now.
I wasn't allergic to ants up north, but
No, no, true. Actually, yeah.
I am here. But
That's really funny. Just anecdote about, um, Becca. Shout
oh,
out to Becca from the gym. We she was having a bad day, or I was probably also having a bad day, but
everyone's
I
having a bad
had
day.
so many in a row. I don't but we were at the gym. It might have been one of the days that I just showed up. There was a day I remember specifically showing up when I was in that time.
Yeah.
I showed up and she was like still outside the gym and I just like sobbed in her arms, which is like it just wasn't something that wasn't
You
something we'd
did.
ever like
Yeah.
experienced together, but I was just like I needed help, I guess, and she just was
Sometimes
there and I just like fell into her little arms, big arms, swole arms, little arms, please. And so we went for a walk and we put our feet in the grass.
I love being barefoot.
I don't know if this was the same day, but I know she was also having a bad day one day and
Yeah.
we did this. It's funny because then we're like, "Oh shit, ants!" Like ran away, but we were grounding. And while we were on our walk, I was like, "I just want you to like scream fuck." And she was like, "I don't even say that word." She's so wholesome. Like
Oh,
she's a bad
man.
bee, but she's wholesome,
Yeah.
you know? And so I was like, "No, I mean, don't say it if you don't want to, but like just like scream something." And she was like it was so cute. She was like, "Fuck." And I was like,
No,
"Okay." And I was like pumping her up and she was like, "Fuck." And I was like,
have you ever screamed
"Oh,
on top of a mountain? Like, that shit's
that's
cathartic.
good." I Another thing I do is scream into a pillow because
Mm.
somehow, some way it makes my throat hurt less. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know if
That's
it's
so
like my
funny.
hot breath against my throat, but I don't know. It works for me.
Oh.
Screaming helps.
Yeah, it does.
Scream in my car.
I cry a lot, but I
Yeah,
love
we
a
know
shower
that.
cry.
Oh, yeah.
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 But yeah. No, but I do really love touching grass. That's great. But I am
Earth
big
is key.
into I'm big into manifesting. I am like 100% astrology, all the things. Like I'm like, "Ah, the universe will tell me and the universe will guide me." And it is funny because it's like, like the cliche, like be careful what you wish for. Like that's so freaking accurate.
Yeah.
Like my 2024 vision board. Well, so every New Year's Eve, I like to make a vision board. And I'll like gather all the photos, and that's like my favorite New Year's Eve activity because it's like, okay, like something about like January is like a great time, or even like also I get that way like end of summer, like beginning of September, because I don't know if it's like associated with like the school year start, but I feel like it's a good time to like be like, okay, like I mean, anytime's a good time for it, but that's just when I'm in the mood for it. Um, but my 2024 vision board, I was, like, so career focused. I was, like, wrapping up a clerkship, for a judge and, like, starting, an actual, like, practicing attorney position. And so I was like, "Okay, now's a great time to, like, do my vision board and, like, manifest all the things." And it's so funny because 2024 was, like, so career driven and
Mm.
just, like, all the things career. Um, and then I got into this like, like this is
Oops.
actually
Oops.
oops, I manifested too
Too
hard.
much.
But, and, like, realization that, like, "Oh, wait, this isn't what I want my life to look like in 30 years."
Mm.
Um, and then so 2025 was my vision board is all, like, about, like, self-love, like, friendships, relationships, like, travel, health, wellness, like, self-care, all the things, and, like, there's numerous pictures on there of, like, touching grass or, like, touching water,
I love
and
that.
yeah, and then I, like, do a bunch of different I, like, have, like, different, like, CrossFit movements on there that maybe I wanna get or, like, weights I wanna hit on a certain lift, and, like, someone doing that particular lift, and then I'll also have, like, little phrases, and every so often, I'll keep one of the phrases on my, like, phone background, and
I saw that
so
last night.
yeah,
Also, while we were adding to your manifestation note, because last night was the full moon,
it was the
which
Lion's Portal.
it was the Lion's portal. So we had to,
The best
naturally,
time
we were
of the
at
year
the
to
bar.
manifest.
We were
We had until 3 a.m., I had to
just
manifest.
literally were there. DJ Rich Salazar, my favorite. And we were like, it's like the music's going and we're in the middle of the dance floor. Like, oh, add that to the manifestation.
She was
It
like,
was like a Chomp sponsorship. Kesha
"Kesha."
as a guest.
We're like, "Oh, she's on the Unwell."
We're
She
manifesting
yeah.
Kesha as a guest.
She was on the Unwell on the
Shh. Yeah, we are like, who better to sponsor a unwellness journey than Kesha?
She got me through, like, middle school.
I guess I was only in high school when she was I? I was probably in college when she was end of high school, early college.
It might have been middle school by the time I listened to I don't
I'm just
know.
glad she's
If she came
getting
out when
the
you were in
respect
high
she
school, I
deserves
don't
now.
think
Anyway, what else
anywho,
did we put on there? Abundance. I saw
um,
abundance on there maybe, or that's on your
abundance.
background screen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so I, like, switch it out every so often, but it's always, like, because I make my vision board using, like, photos and, like, quotes on Pinterest because 'cause they're aesthetic, and one thing about me is I do love an aesthetic.
See? Yeah. It
Yeah.
is very soothing.
Mhm. And then I keep it up. So right now it's in my closet and, like which, like, doesn't sound like it actually is a good place because I'm, like, picking out my outfits there, like, getting ready for work in the morning, and so it's in, like, a good spot, but yeah.
I love that. Well, I think the final stage we have not talked about is the like
Oh, the manic.
high, yeah,
Yeah.
high functioning, overdoing it, manic. I think I was in that state what like before the big depressive state. I was there because I was sad and going through a
Mhm.
lot, but I had a lot of hope and I was working really hard towards certain goals, right? I was trying to have a baby. I was um advancing in my career. I was married. We had some shared goals and
Mhm.
I but I was like relentless, especially because all of those outlets were taken away from me.
Yeah.
It it translated into me like, okay, if I just do this and this and this, and like one example with like for anyone who's gone through IVF or IUI or like any kind of fertility treatment, there are so many things you have to follow and be
Mhm.
like precise on. So I was like obsessive over trying
Do all the
to
right
do all the right
things.
things because the stakes were so high. It was very expensive. It was very taxing on my body. So I was like, I will not
It
drink
needs to
alcohol and
work.
I have to eat this and no plastic and no like cleaning products that are like this. And then all the medication exactly right. And I was so like super focused on what I thought were good, healthy things to like try to make
Yeah.
everything better that it probably was stressing me out so much that
And
it was counterproductive.
yeah, it was equally as harmful on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I think like a healthier thing when you're feeling that way, which I ultimately did, talk about manifesting. When I
Yeah.
got my journal that January before everything went down in February, I essentially manifested the whole like I surrender, like I'm going to
Yeah.
stop trying to like control everything and just do my best.
Yeah.
Like and so sometimes it's like less what do I do? Sometimes it's like just stop. Like just stop.
Yeah.
It's too much trying.
Sometimes all you can do is try your best.
Yes.
So,
And like
for
stop doing stuff. Just like
yeah.
be and like feel and then
Yeah. So it's funny. Um, maybe a bad example, but when we were running the half marathon, I
I'm
was
like,
with
this
my
is gonna be a sports thing. Like, I thought it was gonna be like a
no.
football thing. I'm like, I'm not gonna understand.
No, so we were running this half marathon, it was me and my sister, and, um, the entire time I was, like, obviously down bad because I had no fuel. Like, there was nothing fueling my body except, like, my all of the external factors that led me to signing up for the half marathon. But my sister, who was literally in her first trimester, was like killing it. Good for her. But it was so funny because she would be like, just a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. And I remember repeatedly being like, Jayla, I'm just trying my best out here. I'm trying my best.
I'm just trying my best, and it's like sometimes it's enough. At that
Yeah.
point when you're like, you've been trying. You're like,
hmm
this is all I have.
And, like, I think it's important to recognize that, like I said earlier, like, sometimes 100% does not look the same every single day, depending on, like, so many factors, like your health, like your mental state, what's going
Yeah.
on, the circumstances, the context.
That's hard, especially
But
for people like us who want to like
give
do the
100%
best
every time.
job that we can. Like one of the things I do or try to like to recalibrate when I'm like, am I getting a little, am I doing too
Yeah.
much? Am I doing the most? Like, do I just need to be regular? I'll be like, with a situation that makes me feel like really emotional or like I have to take action.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very much like, once I get that trigger for action, I'm like, let's go. Like, what do we have to do?
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. So lately I've been trying to be like, okay, acknowledge what's happening. Like, what is really happening? Right?
Mhm.
Like, not just how do you feel? Assess the situation properly, like from multiple lenses, not just like how you're feeling about it. And then like then determine like is action even necessary? Or
Yeah.
do you just need to let this thing pass?
Mhm.
Do you just need to call it for a second?
No, literally, because sometimes you just have to recognize, like, you are doing your best.
You know, when you have if you've ever had a bad lifting day, let's say you're doing some of your
Quite
Olympic
often.
let's say you're doing some of your Olympic lifts and you're working on snatches or cleaning jerks and you're just having a bad day with it. You're like, you're not hitting even 50%, like 50% feels hard. Like, okay, keep trying, like
Mhm.
try for a bit. But when you get to that point of like trying is worse and it's just like making things better, you're getting sloppy, you're gonna hurt yourself,
Yeah.
just chill.
And, like, this
Like, just put
literally
it down.
and, like, the same thing, like, on Friday, I was, like, dead exhausted at work, and I was, like, taking so much in me to be, like, even, like, remotely productive, um, and I was not being as productive as I should have been, but I was like, "Okay," like, I, like, forced myself to be like, "Okay, like, well, once we finish this, we're going home," because why keep pushing it when it's, like, it's not gonna be solid work product either, so it's like
When I get to that point, I try to be like, okay, what do I feel like I can do? Okay,
yeah.
like well right now. Or like we were talking about if you're like injured and you go to the gym, you're like, you don't want to be focused on everything you can't do. I'm always injured, so this is why I'm like I relate it to this because I'm like, what do I feel like
Yeah.
I'll do well right now and won't hurt me? Like sometimes you just have to like focus on
What you can do.
what you can do.
Yeah, and you could always do something, whether that be go home and rot,
Oh yeah, we love a lot.
go for a walk. I do love to take my dogs for a walk. That's a
Yeah.
nice little it's a little hot right now, but, Nash doesn't do well in the heat, clearly. But, but you can always do something, even if it's not what you think you should be doing.
And like also try something else. It might not work, but if you go through your list of things you think make you feel good and none of them are working, try something new.
Either way, you'll have new information.
You will have new information.
That
This
is
is
literally our
key.
slogan.
We now have new information. That's gonna be true every day
Yeah.
if we've done one thing. We have a collection of information that keeps growing. On that note, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, we want I think we wanna ask our listeners with an
Yes.
S. Um, we were thinking of hearing from you all because every time we're talking to some of you in passing or connecting with you all on socials, people are like, "Oh, I can relate," or "This happened to me." We want if you're up for sharing, we'd love to hear about it. We want
We want
to
your
know.
crash out
We
chronicles.
want the crash out chronicles. We want to know what is going on with other people. And if you want, we will anonymously share
Yeah.
for the masses or speak to it the next
But yeah.
time.
Anyhow,
So now that we are live and up and running, you can subscribe, follow, comment, rate on Spotify,
Apple
Apple,
Podcasts,
wherever you
Amazon
listen to
Music,
your
YouTube,
wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can follow us, of course,
on our
on
socials.
socials at crying or at
We are crying at the gym.
we are crying at the gym.
Crying at the gym was taken.
Uh,
Apparently, it's relatable.
sorry.
Sorry.
um
Anyhow,
yeah. So follow us on socials at we are crying at the gym. And we shall see you next time.
next Wednesday.
Okay, bye.